Well, we made it to day 5 of Calm during COVID. Congratulations on making it through the end of the week. I know that you're going to love this practice because it's restorative and everyone's always tired on Friday. So restorative practice uses a lot of props usually, and that's what I have gathered around me. I'll go through that list with you in just a moment. But the idea behind restorative poses is to hold the poses for a longer amount of time, usually something like 5 minutes, maybe longer, to really just let the body rest and slow down. So this is one of those practices where while you're doing the practice, it'll often feel like, I'm not really doing anything, this is kind of boring. But later, you will really notice the effects. So stick with it. And thank you again so much for coming to this yoga journey and joining us for this series. Okay, so let's get started. You're gonna want a blanket or a bath towel. If you have a bolster, that would be great. That would be ideal. Otherwise, you're gonna need a couple pillows, like off of your bed or maybe off of a couch cushion. A belt, for sure. You can use a scarf, a tie, webbing, whatever you have around, preferably not a TheraBand, not a stretchy thing. A yoga block or another pillow, like a throw pillow, a smaller pillow would be good. This is going to be like for adding some extra height later. And then these two things are optional. So this is an eye pillow. It matches my outfit. And then a sandbag. Okay, so these two things add weight to the body. And what happens when we add weight to the body is that the nervous system can calm down in a different way, just soothing, like a weighted blanket. So we're gonna begin lying down, and you're gonna just start with the belt nearby, but you're gonna take this blanket, you're gonna put it at the head end of your mat, and you're gonna roll it a little bit. And what you're gonna do is create a little cervical curve support for the back of your neck. And if you like putting your feet up on the bolster, you're welcome to do that. I am gonna try it out and see. So you're gonna lie back, and you're gonna have that rolled bit under the curve of your neck. It should feel like it's high enough that it's supporting your neck, but not so high that it's hurting. Yeah, I don't like the bolster, so I'm gonna move it out of the way with my feet so I don't have to sit up. And then we're just gonna start with 10 slow breaths. So settle in. And if you're not a counter, don't worry, I'll bring you out in approximately that long. For the last 4 or 5 breaths here, maybe just deepen the exhales a little bit and consciously relax as you finish those breaths. Let's take one more breath. If you do have that bolster nearby, you're going to just kind of kick it up by your hand for later. Right now, you're going to bend your knees. And you're just going to pick your knees up and hold your knees with your hands. And just give yourself a little bit of a movement, maybe side to side, front to back with the knees, or if stillness is better for you, just hold and take another breath. Then find that belt that you put nearby. And we're gonna put both feet in that prop. And we're gonna go up and out with the legs And we're gonna let the feet be apart for this. So they could go really wide depending on the size of your belt, the length rather, or they could be more like hip width. And if you have tighter legs and this is harder for you, you can bend your knees a little bit. Feel free to rock the legs some. We're just letting the fluid in the legs drain down, since most of the time they are the lowest part of the body. Just reverse that for a moment. So these first few poses will probably be a little bit harder to hold for a full 5 minutes, but we're going to aim to start slow and to get slower as we practice. Good work. Bend the knees and keep that belt nearby, but just drop your feet out of the prop. Just put it on your belly or somewhere where it's not hard to find. You're going to use, I'm going to use my bolster, but you can use a pillow if you want to. But you're going to put it to the side of your right leg and just have it off your mat so it's not touching you yet. And then put the right foot back up in the belt like it was a moment ago. Try to hold with a loose grip if you can and go in the direction of a straight leg. We'll be here for about 3 breaths. But that's not necessary for you to count. Just let your body have this moment. I can keep track of the time for you. The second part of this shape, and the one that we're going to hold longer in true restorative style, is that this right leg is going to go up on a diagonal and over to the right. So put the belt, both pieces of it, in your right hand. Take the leg up and over to the right, maybe straightening out the left leg at the same time. And when you hit some kind of resistance where your leg is like, whoa, that's a big stretch, then you're going to bring your prop in so that your outer leg is resting on it. I'm actually going to use my elbow to help with this as well. So I'm holding the belt with both hands and kind of pulling to the left with my left elbow, holding on with my left hand more firmly than the right to counterbalance the weight of the right leg that's going out to the side. And if this prop is not high enough, you can always add something under it, like another pillow or even the block under the bolster, so that the soft part of the bolster is what's touching your leg. And if this is just way too intense, you can always bend your right knee like tree pose and just rest your knee open to the side. I'm showing that one here if you want to see. So I'm not going to be talking very much in this practice from here on out. So I just wanted to say that now so you don't think that your screen froze or anything's happening where I forgot about you. I just want to give you lots of space and quiet, because the space and the quiet is what can help us with calming our nerves and finding the quality of rest. I know you've been there a while. We're going to be here for a while more. Try to relax the shoulders and stay with it. If your hands start to get tired, you're welcome to switch into that tree pose shape with the knee bent. And just wait there, letting the inner leg open a bit more. And because we're holding the poses for a long time, it's really important to transition slowly as well. This is not a flow environment. We're really just hanging out for a while and then slowly moving through into another shape or the other side. So let's just prepare for the idea of moving right now by either opening the eyes if they're closed or just prepping the body for movement, taking the leg out of the straight position if it's not. Slowly, you're going to bring both legs to a bent position with the feet flat on the ground. And you're trying not to sit up. So we're trying to keep the head quiet, the mind quiet. I'm just going to move the pillows or the bolster or whatever you have over to side 2. You know what it's doing now, so you can kind of plan ahead. And we're also just giving the hands a moment to rest, because if they were holding the belt that whole time, they can be tired. So just move mindfully, and when you are ready to move, you're going to begin with the left leg in an upright position, so sort of like vertical. Doesn't have to be all the way vertical, but in that general vicinity. Just leave it there for a bit before you go over to the left. If we are used to being really busy, slowing down like this can be very hard. So try to resist the urge to scrub through the video and make it faster. Don't think I don't know people do that. Let's shift to the side with the leg now. So you're holding the belt with left hand. I like to straighten the right leg for this transition, but you can do whatever works for you. The leg is going to go up and to the left. And you're going to adjust that prop until it feels like it's supporting your outer thigh by the hip. And then hold the belt with one or both hands, propping the elbow, the left elbow on the ground or the pillow. And just give it some time. Just let the mud settle. And this is a less is more situation. So if you feel like keeping the legs straight is causing agitation or is too much in any way, if it's starting to be hard to hold it out there, it's not a competition. Just bend the knee. Bring it more like a tree shape. You can even go back and forth between those two shapes for a moment or a couple times. There really isn't a right way to do this. It's just the way that can help you feel supported and can help your body relax. So support yourself in a way that feels safe to you. When your body feels safe, that's when you're going to let go. When you feel safe, that's when your body's going to let go. So let's stay with it just a little bit longer. And just preparing again to come out of this shape. Go slow. When you're ready, start to bend that knee if it's not. And then bring that knee upright, foot flat on the floor. Okay, just put the belt away out to the side. And then you're going to roll over onto your side. And then actually I'm going to go this way. You're going to just keep going until you can go face down. And when you get to face down, you're going to keep this rolled blanket. You might even make it higher. And you're going to put your forehead, I'm going to move my little mic here. You're going to put your forehead on the blanket. And then we're going to find a comfortable way to use the arms. So for some people, that's going to be forearms and or wrists kind of resting on the same roll that your forehead is on. The reason it's your forehead is so there's room for your nose so you can breathe and not smash your face. And this can be the stopping point. If you want a little bit different shoulder stretch, you can climb your elbows up onto the lift that your forehead is on, this rolled blanket, and put your hands at the back of your neck, or even join your hands together, stretching the tricep area, shoulder area. The mic's really close to my face, so I'm trying to talk nice and quiet. But you're really going to just try to rest the weight of your head down. Rest your arms. Rest your belly, all the organs inside, just trying not to grip or clench. Now, even though the idea with restorative yoga, or yin for that matter, is to just hold the poses a long time, the body is dynamic and it is going to change. It's going to let go, or at least it might let go. And if it does, you may need to readjust. So holding the pose for a long time doesn't mean you can't move. It's just about bringing that quality of stillness and spaciousness. These things that really support being in a more calm, easeful state.
there's anywhere else that's still kind of clenching or holding on, see if you can ungrip that fist of tension. And if it doesn't let go yet, that's okay. Just let it be. We've got more time. Again, we're going to go nice and slowly, gently. Just thinking about the idea of moving first. And then beginning maybe to open the eyes or to just back the hands up so that you can push into the ground. And come up slowly into child's pose. Now, if you do have a bolster or a couple of pillows, you might like to put those between the knees. This rolled up blanket we're going to use later, but you can just put it to the side for now. And with the bolster between the legs, just lie forward and rest the chest and head on the pillows. So I have my head to the side with my cheek on the pillow, but you could bring that rolled blanket and use it like you did just in the last shape with your forehead on it. My mic seems to be moving around a lot, so sorry if that's making noise for you. If for some reason this is bothering your knees, you could raise the hips and put something between your thighs and your calves. That way you'd have support so that your knees don't have to bend so much and your legs, your upper legs and hips can rest on that support. Just stay here a little longer in this little ball, allowing yourself to be tucked in, tucked away, in a safe little space for yourself. If your head is turned to one side, you might consider turning it the other way. And the next 3 or 4 breaths to finish this shape. Again, just consciously letting go of anywhere that's holding on unnecessarily. And then if you have your eyes closed, just start to blink open. The first step is just being aware of where you are. And then the movement can come from there. Just push towards sitting upright. Just pause with the head upright. It's been a while since it's been in that position. And this is what I mean about going slow. Sometimes we're very agitated and we're used to this busy pace of life. So this is our chance to learn how to slow down and care for ourselves at a different speed. Our next shape is going to be pigeon pose, this forward lying pigeon prep. You're going to use the prop of pillow or bolster still, and you're going to turn it so that it's crossways on your mat. And once you have it there, sort of crossways, you're going to come up towards all fours. And you're going to step your right knee up and over that so that your pigeon hip, the front leg, is on the prop. Now you'll notice in my setup that I'm a little bit asymmetrical. I'm bending the back leg. So a lot of times in pigeon we go really square to the ground, and you're welcome to adjust to that when we lean forward, but start with it so all your weight is kind of resting on that right outer hip and the pelvis is turned a little bit. And then we're going to lean forward, and this is where we might want the block or the belt because we might need some height for the head support. So start to lean out over the right leg. Mine's very tight today. So I got to stop on my forearm. You might be able to go deeper than I. And you're just kind of estimating the height of how low or high your head can be. And the nice thing about using a blanket on top of a prop is that you can just fold the blanket higher or lower as needed. So because we're in this little bit asymmetrical shape, you're going to end up with your right shoulder closer to the floor and the outside of your, like the side of your head on the prop. So that's the version that I'm showing. It's kind of a open position, so not facing the floor. Now, if that doesn't feel good to you, or you want to try facing the floor, just turn the hips, kind of turn that back knee down, and then put both forearms under your chest or shoulder area and put your forehead on the prop. So now I'm showing that version. You want to pick the one that you can stay in for several minutes. So just plan accordingly, knowing that lots of time will pass, but you can be dynamic and readjust as needed. Try to relax around the shoulders. They tend to grip here. Really let the head be supported on the block or whatever is underneath your forehead or side of your face. So in a restorative practice, you can just let the breath be easy and natural versus controlling the breath and trying to do ujjayi or any sort of pranayama. In fact, maybe you just don't even think about breathing. You just let your mind go where it goes. Just give it that space where thoughts can disappear the same way that they arose, just on their own. You might hear me moving a little bit. I'm just readjusting in the pose. I encourage you to do that too, so that you can manage to be there, not getting up and leaving, but just giving it a little more time. Now, pain is a different thing. We're not trying to cause pain, so I realize the intensity of stretch can be borderline painful sometimes, but see if you can position yourself in a way where the stretch is intense enough, but it's not painful. Just a few more moments here. And begin to slowly sit yourself upright. And the way I like to change legs is to just lean onto the right hip and swing this left leg around. You can actually pause cross-legged sitting on the bolster. Take a few breaths. A lot of times when we come out of the pose is when the work happens. So you can think of it almost like when if you ever were to stand in damp sand, when you stand there for a while, it makes an impression, and then when you step out of the damp sand, often it kind of floods in with water. And a similar effect is happening in the joint. We're sort of compressing while we're resting on it, on that hip in this case. And then when we come out of the position, it's like fresh fluid can come in and sort of rehydrate the joint. That's really the point, actually. So let's go to the other side. I just wanted to give us a chance to not rush over into side two. And then remember, you can kind of start asymmetrical with that right leg bent and the outer left hip supported. And then begin to lean out forward and find a supported way to use your props if you have them for your head. You can always stack fists too. I didn't say that on the other side, but that just requires a little more work in the arms from the beginning. You have to hold the fist position with your hands, and it's not very relaxing for most people. So get your prop set up, come on forward, either facing the ground if that's better for you, or staying in that slightly asymmetrical shape. And commence with doing nothing. Just continue to readjust if you need to. You know, it doesn't need to be the same exactly on this side as it was on the other. So on this side, for me, being a little bit rotated to the right, turned out, feels better than it did on the other side. The other side wanted to be more square. So just try to meet your body, meet yourself. Go nice and slow and quiet. And even though it feels like you are doing nothing, and you literally are doing nothing, just lying here, there will be effects later, I promise you. The body is dynamic. Don't forget that you can change or adjust. I think the wind is opening the door for me today. It's very windy here. You may have heard those sounds, but the door just popped open behind me. This is a good practice. You know, there's always going to be distractions. You know, I'm going to have to close it probably at some point because it's going to be louder. But even if things in your environment are shifting, just try to stay calm. Just try to stay here. Just a little bit longer on this side, this left hip getting a chance to open up. Soften the shoulders. And relaxing the jaw. Just a few more breaths here in pigeon, downward facing pigeon prep, it's sometimes called. Pigeon has so many names. When you're ready, just still, slow. Just preparing and then going slow to transition. Again, you can lean onto the left hip for a moment in order to bring that right leg around. And just maybe sit cross-legged on your pillow. Just give yourself a few moments sitting quietly. And we're going to keep using this bolster, pillow, and a blanket roll. I'm going to press this door closed. Hopefully no more ghosts will visit us today, but we'll see. So this pose, what we're gonna do is we are going to take
the block or a throw pillow at one end, and then we're going to angle the pillow on it. So what we're heading for is that one end is higher than the other end. And this blanket that we've been using, we're gonna roll that again, kind of like so. Put that across the high end. And then you're gonna sit, but this time you're gonna face your prop. And when you get to that position, you're gonna straddle the prop with your legs. And we're not really trying to go to like the widest straddle possible. We're just trying to open the legs a comfortable distance. And you can either scoot towards the prop or pull it in towards your pelvis. And then you're gonna begin to lie over this. Now you know why this head end is higher. So you can change the height of the block underneath, make it higher or lower. Again, you can go forehead on the prop so that the forehead is down. Now, if this setup isn't working for you, you could also use like a coffee table or a folding chair or something you can put your head on that's higher than this. So that's a good thing to remember, to be able to hold for a while. Without too much strain. Really try to rest your head, the weight of your head, so that you're not holding on at all with your shoulders or the back of your neck. You're not trying to hold your head up. You're really just letting the weight of your head drop into this prop. If it's hard to breathe, you can always turn your head to the side also. And just really try to let your body be in the shape of this pose, but without doing any effort at all. Literally try to do nothing. Sounds easy. It's totally not. So this wind that we have today, I know it blew the door open, but you may have heard there's creaks and moans happening on the building. And a lot of times this is what the mind is like when we're in an agitated state. You know, this COVID situation has been very, the mind is blown back and forth all over, up, down, right, left, backward, forward, from one day to the next. And we're just trying to kind of wait out this storm here in these poses. Like I don't mean to say that we're passive, because I know that all of us are little light workers bringing our work to the world. But what I mean is sometimes we just need to slow down and let the wind blow. And just try to give ourselves a safe place to be, safe and protected, so that we can become more calm and have a little more ease.
So check in again with the shoulders, the upper back, the weight of the head. Try to just really rest it down. Just notice maybe if there's that urge to want to do something, to fix something. And see if you can just be right here and try to relax into this proverbial windstorm, right? This metaphorical agitation. If things are not relaxing, don't be angry about it. Don't push to try to get it to relax. Nobody wants to be pushed into doing anything. Usually the reaction to that is more tension, so just let it be. When it's ready to let go, it'll let go. Might not be today. Let's take a few more breaths here, just natural, easy breathing. Softening shoulders on exhale. Resting the head down. Open up to the idea of moving again. If this is super comfortable, you can always stay longer or come back and do it again. But if not, you can start to use your hands to back up, almost like you're rolling up the head last. And just pause in an upright or kind of a neutral spine position. These transition periods are as important or more important sometimes as being in the poses. If we start to rush again, we negate all the work that we've put in, the work of doing nothing. Okay, so just a couple moments still sitting here. We have one more pose in our sequence today, and you don't have to change anything with this prop setup. You're just going to turn around. So literally just rotate, put your back facing the bolster or pillow. This rolled up blanket you're going to use, and you're going to bring the soles of the feet together with the knees apart. And put the roll over the top of your feet and kind of tuck the ends under your outer ankle area. So this is for support. If it's not a big enough, like not long enough to reach, you could also put props under your knees instead, like blocks or pillows. And then you're just gonna lie back with the head supported on the high end, the butt on the floor. And then this is where I like to use the props that have weight. So sandbag, I think mine's around 7 or 8 pounds. I actually made it, so I don't know. And I like to put that right on kind of my pubic bone, lower pelvis area. It's very grounding. And you can also use an eye pillow here. And if you don't have an eye pillow, you can just put like a folded shirt over your eyes. The darkness is also soothing and calming, like sleep, you know? So if that's scary to you, then obviously this isn't a good idea. If it's too scary to have the eyes covered, just don't do that. But if you like this idea, the weight is really a good idea to soothe the nerves. So even just a blanket on top of you, like you're cuddling up in bed, would be useful here. Now this is our last pose, so we're going to be here with the spine on this prop for a while, but if your legs start to become uncomfortable bent like this, just go ahead and straighten them and make this be your Shavasana. So I'm not going to disturb you and say that during the middle. I'm just going to let you go. And I'll mind the time. And in several minutes, we will meet up again to finish our practice.
Let's find the breath again. Just some natural, easy breathing. And using this, the breath, as like a focal point to bring attention back into the body. It's often off in the clouds when we get to this part of the practice, and that's exactly the point. So bring it on back. Now, if you want to stay in this pose, if you're just loving it, I'll just finish without you. But if you're ready to complete the pose, take 3 deep breaths. This time slow, full inhale, a little deeper than normal. And a satisfying exhale. 2 more like that. This pose, people often want to be in this pose for like 20 minutes. So honestly, stay if you want. But if you want to move, you can start to stretch your arms. If your legs are still bent, you can I guess regardless, if you do have something on your pelvis, a weight, just move that to the side. And then you're gonna roll over to the side and just roll off of your prop. I always like to keep the eye pillow on when I do that. I don't want to go back to reality right now. I want to stay in this little restorative bubble. And eventually, you just let that fall. Pausing here on your side. Blinking your eyes back awake. And then again, very slowly, just push into the ground, kind of drop the head and around the back to roll up nice and slow. And take whatever seat is comfortable for you if you are coming out of the pose, and just sit for a few breaths instead of rushing off into whatever else is coming in your day. Thank you again so much for spending these 5 days together with me and bringing a sense of calm into the world right now. The light in me, it sees and it reflects the light in you. Namaste.